Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rob's video blog. So I think it's been about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer since I did the last video blog. I did it. I finally closed on my first rental property, my first investment property. I talked about all the pains and struggles leading up to that. Well, the pains and struggles have just started. So I had a budget of about $30,000 to do some renovation, and that included about $15,000 to $19,000 for a new septic system. It appears that I am not going to have to put in a new septic system, so that's good. So in walking through the house, because I know I have this budget, I wanted to do some value-added upgrades. Some of the things that I thought I was going to leave, now that I have a little bit more money, I decided that I was going to change and upgrade. And in doing so, I'm kind of glad that I did. I uncovered a number of sort of unforeseen things. The windows on one of the units are pretty old and kind of rotted out, so I'm replacing the windows on one of the units. The hot water heater on one of the units, while it appeared to be fairly new, I discovered that the chimney cap was missing, and because the chimney cap was missing, water ran down the flue and pretty much funneled its way down the exhaust port on the hot water heater, and that water just kind of pooled on top there and ran down and corroded a whole bunch of things. So hot water heaters cost me about $400, so I figured pull that thing out, put a new one in. And the floors, I was going to leave the carpets, and then the more I thought about it, people tracking in and out of there. What it was the carpets were actually not in terrible shape. They were relatively clean. But when the previous owner took out the furniture, there were massive furniture lines. I venture to guess that couch and that furniture was probably there for God knows how many years, but there's massive lines in it. It looks really, really terrible. And it's an older home, so I figured, rip it out and put in some laminate flooring. Laminate flooring, is much cleaner. It doesn't hold the dust, doesn't hold the dirt. You got different tenants tracking dirt in and out of there. These homes don't have like a mud room where you come in and take your shoes off. You walk immediately into the living room, or at least one unit doesn't have one. So I'm going to go with the laminates. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's a lot more robust. I don't want to have to change the carpet every, second, third tenant that turns over in this place. I like to install something that's going to last a while. So I got decent pricing on some laminate. We're going to put that in. The whole place is going to be painted. I think I may have talked about that. The bathrooms, we were just going to kind of clean up the bathroom in one of the units. Upon re-looking at that, it's kind of green, like it's actually mint green. And so going through this property with my father, who's a little bit of a perfectionist, kind of like myself, and like I said, I have a little bit more budget, so he said, you know what, we'll just rip it out. Put some recessed lighting in a lot of these places, change out the outlets and the outlet covers, different colors and that sort of thing. So little things here and there. I'll show you some pictures here. Bear with me 1 second here. I'll show some pictures here of the property. So this here is, this is some of the recessed lights that we put in. They were the slim LED. An interesting thing about this ceiling is this is actually, because it's a flat roof, this is actually like 6 inches of insulation before you get to like another ceiling and then the roof joists. So this was not regular drop ceiling. This was like 6 inches of insulation with like this kind of textured cover over the top. So these were slim LEDs, like a little junction box type thing. So I put these in. This was a ceiling fan. I took that one out. This was the other side, ceiling fan here. We took that one out. Put some new, all new drop ceiling in both of the living rooms, in the living room in this unit and the kitchen in the other one. Put a new drop ceiling. We pulled off on these doors and stuff like this. This fancy molding is going away. We're going to put standard regular molding and have that stuff painted white. They'll paint the walls probably like gray, do the molding white. Here's the kitchen, right? So this was, a lot of this drop ceiling stuff was sagging, so we replaced that, and then we put the recessed lights. My goodness, the room looks so much bigger when you take, because the ceiling is a little low. So in addition to that, they had a ceiling fan hanging down here. And so you have a low ceiling with a ceiling fan. It makes the room look really small. As soon as I dropped that ceiling fan out, the whole room just opened up and looked bigger. And putting these recessed lights just brightened everything up, so it came out, looks pretty nice. So here's the hallway. There was no lights in this hallway previously. I had to put this switch in here. You see I changed the outlet to the white outlet. I had to put this switch in here, put these recessed lights in here. And so that stuff went pretty well. The windows are pretty standard. So I hired a handyman to kind of do the bathroom demo and put in a new bathtub, a new surround, a new shower in the other one, tile the floors in the bathrooms. Again, I was going to do like peel and stick and that kind of stuff, but like if I tile it, like it's pretty much bulletproof unless somebody drops a bowling ball on it. The tile will last for a really, really long time. So I'd rather just spend a couple extra bucks now and not have to worry about it for a longer time than do a cheap fix and then have to keep fixing it. So I hired a handyman to do that, and one of the first things he was working on was the bathroom. Okay, so I'm sorry, carpets, we pulled up all the carpets, and so when I originally was going to leave the carpets in, we decided to do something with the floors. I'm glad I did. This carpet was like that thick. It was super, super thick, super heavy duty, a lot of padding. You can still see the staples on the ground here. And you see this white and kind of green stuff? Well, the basement's a little damp. The basement's got a couple cracks along the edges there, and water came in, and there was like kind of like a low layer of kind of just standing water and constant moisture, which we wet dried back out, and we're gonna fill in the cracks there to keep the water from coming in. And I think it has come up through the floor and got trapped underneath the carpet. And this is like dusty mold. When we ripped out all this carpet and I threw all the carpet out, it stunk like a wet dog. So while I was going to leave the carpet, I'm glad I'm ripping it out because it's not a healthy environment for somebody to be renting out, to be living in. So we're going to pull out all these staples. We're going to mop this up, clean this up with some bleach, get it nice and clean, get it dried out, get the basement dried out. So when we put our padding and put our laminate floor down, we don't have the same issue with the moisture. But you could see here how much cleaner and nicer it looks just ripping off here, that kind of fancy trim. All this stuff is going to be painted gray, and then we're going to do the white trim. The doors will be white, and then we'll put the laminates down. So here's the other room again, same sort of thing. I found out that this property was originally like a diner back in the 50s, and then they like converted it and added an addition. So it's got these linoleum tiles here on the floor here. So we pulled out the carpet. This room wasn't bad. It was pretty dry. It had this one spot here that's got some kind of light dusting. I'm not quite sure what that was, but again, we'll clean up the floors. We'll level it out and put the laminate in. And again, these panels are going to have these strips here filled in. The lines here. These will all be skim coated and painted a solid color. So again, here's the hallway, same sort of thing. You could see all this green and this kind of white dust. This is like that dry. It's not dark like black mold that you would get if you, but like kind of like if you had cheese in the fridge and it kind of gets that like powdery dust. That's kind of like what this was. So we're going to clean all that up and get it nice and clean. Here's the other room, same sort of thing. Again, it's not like black mold. It's like this dusty, powdery type of stuff. So we're going to clean up the floors, bleach it, mop it. Put the new floor down, and then along here we're going to do proper trim along here. And so now to the sort of surprise. So the one unit had a bathtub and a shower, so I had my handyman rip out the bathtub and rip out the shower, and this is what he found. Now this bathtub was a weird bathtub because this was actually the drain. It was a side drain bathtub, and I was like, why the heck would you buy a side drain bathtub? Well, apparently there was this giant drain line from God knows what. Maybe there was a toilet here back in the day. I don't know. And you can see here they got a little tap off. So actually this drain comes down and goes into this line here that goes to the septic system. And instead of cutting this, because this thing stub ups above the floor, instead of cutting this down here and capping it, they just like see these 2x4s here? They actually put 2x4s and mounted the tub above this pipe and just filled the pipe with like cement to seal it so you didn't get the vapors coming back. So, and this subfloor obviously looks terrible. So we're going to cut this off down here, cap it. We'll get rid of this, and then we'll reroute the proper drain to this location, and then we'll put a new piece of plywood and screw it into the joists here so we have a proper subfloor and proper drain for the bathtub, but didn't budget for that. Didn't think that was going to be there. I had a feeling this floor was going to be in rough shape. It's underneath the bathtub. It was old, but like this kind of stuff is like, Jesus, just do it right the first time. But this is the type of stuff you find everywhere. So yeah, here's a picture of just like the wood is just completely rotted through. So here's a better picture, right? Here's the side drain for the tub, which is super weird. This insulation's in pretty bad shape. We'll probably pop some more insulation in there. And here's just another picture of it. Another picture of the floor. And that's the bathroom floor. So same thing. So in the bathroom floor here, fill in these holes here, you know, level it out, and then they'll put my handyman's going to put in some nice tile for us there. And so, oh God, this one bothers me the most. So you can see in the kitchen here, we put brand new drop ceiling in the kitchen here. We cleaned a lot of things up. And this roof had a leak, and I knew of this leak, and it was kind of it was a disclosed leak in buying the property, and the roof was still under warranty. So the roofer came in maybe 2 weeks ago, patched it, and said, yeah, I patched it, no problem, 90-day warranty on the work that I did. Well, it's only been like a week, and we got some snow, and that's a lot of water, everybody, because again, you have to realize underneath this drop ceiling is like 4 to 6 inches of like roof insulation. So this is not just like water dripping through, it's like water dripping on the insulation, sopping the insulation, and then falling onto my brand new drop ceiling panels that I just put in. So this I'm kind of pissed about, but you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna have to call the roofer. He's gonna have to come back, fix this. I'm gonna have to pop in 1, 2, looks like there's a little spot there, 3 new panels here to clean that up. But to be honest, I'm taking the panels down, I'm not putting them in. I'm gonna let him fix the roof, and I'm gonna wait or I'll take a hose and spray it up there, or wait for a good rain to make sure it's not leaking again, because I'm not gonna put new panels up there just to have them stained again. So actually, you know what, maybe I'll just leave those guys up there. So we're back to the beginning. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. The renovation is well underway. Like I said, I kind of got, you know, I mean, it's tough for me to be hands off because I can do all of this stuff. Like my father and my mother have both been helping me quite a bit, you know, and, you know, putting in the light fixtures, fixing the outlets, you know, the shower valve needs to be replaced on the one unit. And I can do all this stuff. It's not difficult. I have a job. I have a family, I have kids, so I don't have time for it. So that's why you pay the handyman. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. I hope that this is kind of the end of, I mean, we've pretty much ripped everything out at this point. So I can't imagine that I would discover anything else. We're fixing the, you know, the cracks in the basement. The bathtub was like the last thing to kind of be ripped out and find, you know, under the floor and the walls. So hopefully this is the last big surprise, and we're just kind of pushing forward with everything to get this thing in shape to be rented out. So just wanted to give you guys a progress update, and thanks for watching, and wish me luck, and I'll update it. Once it gets done, I'll take some nice photos, we'll post them on here, and hopefully we'll get this bad boy rented out. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next time.